Hi, my name is Barbie Enrico, and I'm here to welcome you to Pitch Tips Zoomcast, and where venture capitalist Fred Haney gives feedback to CEOs of startup companies to help them raise capital. Fred is an experienced venture capital fund manager, angel investor, entrepreneur, founder Monday Club, and author of The Fundable Startup, one of the best-selling books about startup companies getting funded. So let's find out what Fred has to say to today's CEO.
Hi, and welcome to the Pitch Tips Zoomcast. I'm Fred Haney, your host for the Zoomcast, and I'm here because I've dealt with hundreds of startups. I've been a co-founder of a lot of companies, half a dozen companies. I've had a total of about 60 exits. And the idea of the Zoomcast is to give you the opportunity to be a fly on the wall and watch a budding entrepreneur pitch me, the venture capitalist, about trying to raise some funds. And I'm not here because I'm going to write a check. I'm here because I'm going to try and help our presenter today sharpen up her pitch deck, see if we can make some improvements in it and improve her chances of getting funded. Our guest today is Varna Kadambari. She's the CEO of Medarcus Incorporated, and you'll hear a lot from her about her company as we go. We're hoping we can help her increase her chances of getting funded. So imagine that you're in the office of a venture capitalist, that would be me, and you're watching the CEO of a company pitch, and the idea is hopefully you can learn from the dynamic, the kinds of questions that get asked, and the kinds of answers that a CEO like Varna provides. So let's introduce Varna. Good morning. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Look forward to our conversation. So Varna, why don't you tell us a little bit about your personal background and how you got involved with Medarcus?
Yes, thank you so much, and good morning to you as well. My name is Varna. I am the founder of Medarcus. I have about 20 plus years in the health information technology space. Started the company as a way to solve the problems that I commonly dealt with when I was working in the field as a consultant. I believe that problems can be solved, and like I said, I started the company back in 2014 to resolve the issues of data integrity in the health technology space. Oracle recently announced that it was buying Cerner Corporation for an estimated $26.3 billion in equity value in an all-cash deal. We at Medarcus have developed a proprietary AI-driven application called SurePatient that solves the problem of patient matching and causes hospitals to lose billions of dollars a year in denied claims. So we are actually currently raising seed. We do have traction. We've been delivering our product and our excellent service to clients throughout Southern California over the last 5 years. And we believe we're disrupting the EHR space by replacing patient search at registration with a more effective and optimized search tool for patient access and improve the revenue cycle for the hospital, as well as patient safety. Of course, that's always number one.
So great. That's a good introduction. In a second, we'll have Varna do a screen share, but first, a background comment. More and more, I've been having to deal with the issue of, should a pitch deck be self-contained? Should I be able to read a pitch deck and know what I need to know about a company? Or should it have a lot of nice graphics and don't worry about it, because when somebody's there to present the pitch deck, they can explain what each of the slides means? I'm seeing both kinds of slides. And Varna's is kind of a mix here. So some of my comments will be along those lines. We'll have that conversation. I guess my overriding thought there is that one of the prime applications, one of the prime uses of a pitch deck is to apply for a meeting. You know, if you're going to email me a pitch deck and ask for some time on my calendar or a slot in the Monday Club presentation, I need to be able to read that deck and have a pretty good understanding of your business. That doesn't mean it has to have paragraphs and paragraphs of text. I'm okay with simple little bullets. But I get some pitch decks that are just all graphics, and I don't know what to do with it because I don't have a person there to explain. So some of my comments as we go through Varna's deck will be, you know, how you would do this slide if you're applying for time on my calendar versus how would you do it if you're going to be standing there to explain it. So with that, Varna, why don't you go ahead and start your screen share and go through and we'll make this kind of interactive. I'll comment on individual slides if I have a specific comment.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I just want to make sure you can see my screen.
Yep.
Great. So thank you again, everyone, for your attention today. Again, I'm Varna, and I'm the CEO of Medarcus. Company's name is, I'm sorry, my company's name is Medarcus, and the product's name actually is called SurePatient. Our mission at Medarcus is to improve patient safety and revenue outcomes for hospitals. We solve the problem of patient matching in the electronic health record, which I'll be referring to as EHR throughout the presentation, with our data integrity platform, which is again called SurePatient.
So Varna, help me here a little bit with what you mean by the problem of patient matching.
Sure. So the biggest problem that we face anytime we walk into a hospital, you're either sick or you're not paying attention because you have children or you're caring for someone who's not well. But we present ourselves at the hospital or the healthcare facility, and the registration person is the first person you see. That person is the most critical person in the entire chain of events and of a patient's journey in a healthcare facility. They're the person that identifies you, finds you in the electronic health record, and sets you on your journey throughout the stay. So think about when you walk into the grocery store and you're buying a bottle of wine. Well, most of those people are either college students, high school students, part-time employees. The same applies in a healthcare facility. You go to buy a bottle of wine and you are definitely not under 21. So the person asks you for ID. We all find that annoying as mature adults, but the person is just doing their job. Somewhere in the corporate leadership, they've been told and trained that when in doubt, if you are not 100% certain of this person's age, ask for their ID. Well, the same rule applies in healthcare. These people are instructed, high school students, college students, part-time workers, high turnover, stressful people who stressful jobs in high pressure environments. They're told, if in doubt, that this person is who they say they are, and if you cannot find them when you search for them in the database, create a new patient. And
sorry to interrupt, but
yeah.
Let me come back here for a minute. One thing to be careful about all through a presentation like this is to not use jargon words or phrases that people within the industry might understand, but someone from outside might not. I mean, your safe assumption is that the investors you're presenting to probably don't understand your industry. So when you say patient matching, you're matching what to what? You're matching the individual to a database record. Is that the matching?
Correct. So patient matching in the terms of matching the person who is in front, presenting is what they call it, to the database. So they're going to take your name, your driver's license, enter your information into the computer, and then what will show up is a list of all the Fred Haneys that may exist in that system.
Okay, that you've just given me a much better understanding. than
Okay.
I got from the slide. So I would find a way to be define more clearly what you mean by patient matching.
So would you say patient identification would be a better word to
Well,
use?
patient matching is okay. Maybe you just need to expand on it or explain it.
Okay, that sounds good.
So let's go on to the next slide.
Sure. Okay, so why is this important? It is a billion-dollar problem. Patient identification errors cost healthcare organizations as a whole over $262 billion in avoidable losses each year. And these are usually caused by missing or incorrect patient identifiers. These can impact up to 10% of gross claims. And these are all reported numbers from the various associations that gather these statistics. So a missing patient identifier could be an incorrect social security number, and you'd be surprised. There's a lot of incorrect social security numbers, especially there in California, where there's a large population of perhaps undocumented or homeless individuals that may not always have the most reliable identification available to use.
So Varna, let me interrupt on this slide just in the interest of time here to keep us moving. I'm getting a pretty good picture of the problem you're addressing. And here's a case where the graphics probably do help a little bit. They, at least the registration and the one in the upper right there, I'm not sure they help a lot, but they do help. But this is a lot to expect someone to read.
Okay.
On a slide. It's probably too much verbiage. And the problem is if I go off into read the slide mode, then I'm probably not hearing what you're saying.
Okay.
So I would probably lean toward, I'm not sure, was it 6 or 7 of those need to be said? But so you might want to triage that a little bit, cut the list down a little. But I would use shorter little bullets just to remind you what you're going to say. I mean, here we are against this issue of well, how self-explanatory should it be? I think you could make it fairly self-explanatory with little one-line bullets.
Okay.
So let's go on because we're doing this interactively. It's going to take a little longer probably.
Okay. So we do have 2 products to address the problem. One is our SurePatient registration search, and the second product is our SurePatient match. So the registration search is what we call the front end application, which is used at patient registration front desk reception to, number 1, immediately improve productivity by helping individuals find the right patient more quickly. It reduces the registration time in half because they're finding the patient more accurately and quickly. And it basically ultimately replaces the EHR registration search, which EHRs typically have about 33% errors in their system.
Just a quick thought here. It was really helping me when you said help find the patient faster. That's probably not quite how you said it, but you might think about where it says registration search there, turn that into a headline, like registration search helps find the patient faster.
Okay.
So you're telling me the takeaway. So now I know what I'm supposed to take away from column 1 here.
Okay.
So and then you can probably do the same thing with column 2.
Okay, definitely. Good idea. So SurePatient Match is basically the product that cleans up the errors behind the scenes. So we, number 1, identify duplicate records and errors real time. So as errors are being created, we're reporting them to the appropriate department so that they can fix them. We are giving them the opportunity, again, to resolve those records immediately, as well as this shows immediate improvement in the revenue cycle. And the revenue cycle is a term that hospitals use to refer to collection of claims and being paid for services.
So
And
the revenue cycle is probably an important thing to highlight here, because that's at least one of the important metrics that the customer, who is a hospital, will use to determine the effectiveness of your product, right?
okay, so bump that up a little bit.
I mean, it's real important. I mean, the top level question is, what's the product, who needs it, who's the customer, who's buying it, how do they perceive the impact? You know, what are they looking for? What benefits is the customer looking for? And it sounds like one of their primary measures of the effectiveness here would be the revenue cycle.
Okay.
Well, there's probably a better way to say that. I mean, are we talking about cycle implies time? Are we talking about timing, or are we talking about dollar amounts?
Right. And revenue cycle, like I said, is a term that's used specific to healthcare. And really, it's really the process of being paid for services.
I would define it. I define it, you know,
Okay.
Speed to payment or something like that. You can use the phrase, but then I would explain what it means.
Okay. Okay. And then what SurePatient does is historically, this problem has been solved through manual work, people looking through spreadsheets and, finding duplicate records. Well, we have an automated workflow that reduces the cleanup time for the average duplicate record.
You're using an abbreviation here, EHR. You probably need to either spell it out or explain to your audience what that means. Not everybody would understand that.
Okay. Okay.
It's a jargon kind of an issue.
Okay. And we're very proud of our accuracy rate. And that, again, we, based on our studies that we've done with past clients, we do report a 98% accuracy rate versus an industry standard reported 80% accuracy rate by the electronic health record that's out there.
That's great.
Okay, great. So we do offer a 2-week implementation cycle from the time that we sign the contract and they set us up to access their infrastructure or their network. From the time that we get started to the time that the users can start actually using this, the product, and the hospital sees a return, is approximately 2 weeks.
This is an example of a slide that I wouldn't know what to do with if you're emailing me the pitch deck and applying for a slot on my calendar. I guess if I would either just go to bullets, what are the things that have to happen, or the graphic is probably okay, but you might shrink the graphic and then have another little text box that summarizes the things that have to happen.
Okay.
And also I'd say that I can only read 1 or 2 of the gray boxes there. I mean, the font is so small on some of them, I can't read them. So that slide as it stands really doesn't tell me anything.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so why don't you go on?
So just a quick look at what the user interface looks like.
And here's another one. I can't read any of those. So
Okay.
So walk me through a little bit. Tell me what, maybe take a couple of these and explain them to me.
Yeah. So up above, you'll see these slide 1 and 2. These are an example of what the SurePatient search user interface looks like. And here we have some reports that show, the metrics that we report back to the organization. So they can see, one is a cleanup scorecard. And that basically lets them know how much money they're saving as a result of their cost of their cleanup. And it provides an ROI to them. and then this is all the reports sort of in a dashboard view. They can see who's creating the errors, which department, a trending over time, and which department is the costs by department of the errors.
So I'm trying to think how to be a little more effective with this. I several different possibilities. One would be to just turn it into 2 or 3 different slides and give more space to the things that are important. Because right now the text is so small, I can't read them.
Okay.
That would be one possibility. The other possibility would be to put little tags on each of the images that give a little explanation about what they do.
Okay. So I guess
Something like that, but and the other thing would be to just sort of summarize it in bullets. But this is one of those slides that as I look at it right now, I don't know what to do with it. It could also use a headline. You know, you might come up with a headline that says, you know, we have a better user interface than anybody else. But that's not enough by itself. I mean, this requires a little more explanation, I think.
okay. Okay, I think the original reason for doing it this way was to show that there's actually a product that's already been built, and this is kind of a bird's eye view of what it looks like. But your points are noted, and I will go ahead and make those changes. So our product market fit, we are business to business. We have traditionally worked with acute care facilities between 400 and 500 bed. One of them is the County of San Bernardino's County Hospital Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. And we see that there's opportunities beyond acute care facilities. Anywhere that there is an electronic patient record would be an opportunity for us. That includes multi-facility health systems like the big ones like UCLA, M&A targets. So a hospital is getting ready for an acquisition. They could potentially clean up their database prior to their valuation and help increase their value. Pharmacies and insurance payers, they deal with patient records all the time. Surgery and ambulatory centers, the EHRs themselves, electronic health record vendors, they would potentially see a value to gain a competitive edge against their competitors out on the market by having a partnership with us, as well as credit bureaus do have health spinoffs, and we are actually currently in partnership with TransUnion Healthcare. A lot of
you mentioned your San Bernardino connection, and it reminded me that you have some customers. I mean, you're pretty well engaged in the marketplace.
Yes.
And it occurs to me that this is pretty late in the presentation for me to not know that yet.
Okay.
I mean, that's a real important point. You might want to find a place to say that, sort of summarize your current product list and I'm not saying it right, but who are your customers and what are you doing for them? What kind of contracts do you have? I would do that pretty early on.
Okay.
I mean, but not slide 1 or 2, but before slide 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
somewhere around slide 3 or 4, maybe something like that.
Okay.
It's important.
Good. Okay.
But that's not instead of this. I mean, that would just explain that you do have good market traction, and that's worth a lot. I mean, it's important to get that out there.
Okay. And again, we have the market size here. Epic, which is one of the leading EHRs, they dominate the market. They are probably in most of the facilities that the audience may have been to in the LA area. They have 50%. The remaining 50% market share is shared by 3 other leading electronic health record vendors, as well as some smaller players that I've not listed. So our targets are really to go after the non-Epic facilities. They are what we consider low-hanging fruit because they've simply got a lot more conversion work that's coming up. Conversion meaning they're getting ready to upgrade their system. And typically when a facility is getting ready to upgrade their system, they're looking to do a data cleanup. So, 12 and 24, we are potentially looking to as well focus on clinics, ambulatory centers, and perhaps physician clinics. So the market value out there in the world is quite large. It is healthcare, so that's a high valuation industry. 675 billion is the TAM based on our research. We intend to serve the 62 billion market space, and we believe that we can go after realistically 25% of that.
Okay, good. Just quick knee-jerk reaction is nobody's ever done that before. Yeah, I mean, when you say we're going to build a $6 billion company in 5 years, 6 billion revenue, a lot of people reaction is going to be, oh, sure. You either need to, so I guess the next question is, how much revenue is each salesperson going to generate, and how many salespeople would it take to do that, and how are you going to hire that many people that fast?
Right. So what I'm saying, I'm not saying we're going to build 6 billion over 5 years. What I'm saying is we're going to go after 25% of 6 billion.
I guess same comments apply.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, 1.5 billion is still an incredibly large number. It's not, and I want to be careful. I'm not saying you shouldn't target that. I'm just saying it's a unicorn kind of a target.
Right.
And if you want to have that kind of a target, you're going to have to defend it. I mean, you're going to have to really spell out, at least for sophisticated investors, you're going to have to spell out exactly how you're going to go capture all that revenue, because that's a lot of revenue.
Okay.
But most companies don't do more than 50 million in year 5.
Okay.
I mean, to say that you're going to do $1.5 billion, again, I wouldn't say don't target that. I mean, if it's viable and the demand is there and you can deliver, that's fine, but it takes a lot of explaining.
Okay. Good information. Good feedback. And these are, these are our competitors that we typically like to compare ourselves to. These are the folks that we run into when we're doing bids and when we're talking to customers. The one I always like to draw attention to is Verado. Verado is based in Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia area. They are venture backed, and they did their 10 million Series C back in January 2019. They work primarily in the government space, but we get very excited about their success because it's a vision that we feel that we can accomplish within the private sector.
Now, this is a slide that I would probably like a lot if you just emailed me the pitch, because there's good information there. It's factual information. I can read it and get through it. It's a lot when you're pitching. It's a lot for people to read. And I think the way you spoke to the slide was fine. So this is a slide where you probably want to say, look, I don't expect you to read all this. The really important thing is, let me tell you about Verado.
Okay, great. Good, I like that. And here's
again, let's see, why don't you go back for just a sec. And I wonder if there's a headline. Headlines can be really valuable. I mean, a simple little, like a newspaper headline that tells you the takeaway. What am I supposed to take away from this slide? There's opportunity out there. The existing vendors don't really have it covered. One company got a lot of money, but they're not really getting the job done. I mean, whatever you want me to take away from the slide, you could have a little headline at the top there.
Okay, I I like that. I'll do that. We do offer an ROI. The numbers are tremendous, but this is proven by a actual calculation that we perform even in our sales process. And we believe we can offer this 3,000 to 8,000% ROI in year one simply by cleaning 50% of records that are found by our software.
So whose return on whose investment are we
It's
calculating?
the ROI on the money spent on a SurePatient project, which includes the license.
So this is the hospital's return on investment.
Yes, this is the hospital.
Yeah, I think you want to be clear about that. Remember, you're presenting to investors. They're going to think, oh, this is my ROI.
Oh, okay.
Because investors think ROI too.
Okay, I'll update that.
Yes, but if it's the hospital's way of estimating their return on the investment they made in you.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes,
Did I say
exactly.
that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you want to be clear about that.
Okay. Oof, what's going on here? And this is our typical revenue model. These prices would adjust based on the size of the facility and the amount of records that we're processing. But these prices are based on the facilities we've worked with so far.
Now, again, if you want me to understand the graphic, you're going to have to walk me through it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's quite the right thing to do or not. Again, the headline might help. It's kind of complicated to you have to you almost have to explain every column and every row.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Should I remove this?
and I think I mean that's probably too much to do. So maybe again a headline would be a good thing. What's the takeaway here? What do you want me to come away from this slide with?
Okay, so we make it very simple for our clients. For one fee, we offer the items so that it's completely hands off for them from the moment that we get in there and kick off the project to the moment that we accomplish their goals. You know, they get a data analysis, they get support, they get auto features, live error reporting. Everything's all bundled into the one-time fee that we offer.
You see, that doesn't come across. That doesn't come. I don't get that. I don't know how to extract that from the graphic. I think you'd be better off to just explain what you just said to me.
Okay. Okay, so what I would say is, here's our standard revenue model. As you can see, what we try to do is we make it as bundled as bundled as possible. We do not nickel and dime the customer as we're going through a project. It's a one and done pricing model. So for the license fee, that's dependent on each facility and their needs. They basically get an all-inclusive package.
I think there's a more forceful way to say that. I'm not sure quite what it is, but
Okay.
I guess one thing you could do is list the features and say our price. We keep our pricing model as simple as possible. You can get all the features in a bundle for one price, and if you need a subset, you can get that for a lower price.
Okay.
Something like that, but that's really the message, right?
Okay, I like that. And here are some of the folks that we have worked with in the past, as well as some of the projects that we have coming. We've been, like I said, in Southern California for over 5 years, done extensive work with the County of San Bernardino, including Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, did renew us 4 times, and we had a good long working relationship with them. We're currently working with PIH, Good Sam in Whittier, California, as well as Frederick Memorial and We are excited to be kicking off a project with Chalk out there in Orange County this in the coming months, and you can see some of the other deals that we're working.
See, we talked about mentioning your market traction a lot earlier in the presentation.
And
Slide 3. I would move this way forward.
okay.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, that can have a huge impact on your audience's respect for you, or you know, how they calibrate you.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, if you don't do that, it's kind of, hey, we're a bunch of guys with an idea and we want to raise some money.
Yeah.
And that's very different. I mean, investors are going to react very differently to that than if you say, look, we're out there, we're in a bunch of places, we've been doing this for a while, and we're trying to raise funds so we can improve our product and scale up. That's a whole different mindset.
I like it a lot. I'm gonna move this up in preparation for tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah, and here's our revenue and business model. You know, for the next 3 years.
Just so sorry to interrupt, but just so the audience will understand the reference to tomorrow, Varna is going to present to our Monday Club group tomorrow a version of this presentation. So that's what the tomorrow reference is. Not all of our pitch tips presenters do that, but in this case, the timing works out that way. Sorry for the interruption.
No worries. So, like I said, in 2019 and 2020, you will see some changes there. We were affected by COVID. A lot of hospitals did have to cut back on IT projects just as they were dealing with the pandemic. But we're very excited about the upswing that we're seeing for 2022. A lot of these contracts will be closed. At least 50% of that 4.4 will be closed by July 1st, 2022. Again, our current pipeline right now is 2.5 million, expected to close by July. We are anticipating about a 16% average growth rate with technology partnerships that are not currently in the revenue model. Our product is very attractive to any organization that has to track people or inventory. We've been recently talking with a materials management organization that's also in the healthcare space. So we're very excited about our projections.
The row and column identifiers there are hard to read. They're just kind of a small font. So what revenue are you projecting? This goes out to, I'm trying to read the, yeah, what is that, 2025? Is that what that is?
Right, and we're yes.
But so how does that tie in with capturing $1.5 billion?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tie these together.
I mean, there's something not consistent. I mean, I think this is probably based more on reality. and the 1.5 billion is probably kind of a dream. I think you can't say both of those, you know. I mean, if you want to, maybe the 1.5 billion is farther out there, 10 years as a potential or something like that.
Okay.
But when you start talking about how many salespeople can you hire, I do think, I don't know if you address it or not, but sales productivity is something you probably ought to talk about. You know, how much revenue can a salesperson generate? How many salespeople are we going to need to do this?
Okay.
Sales productivity.
Okay.
And there's probably a better format for that chart. It's really hard to read. I mean,
yeah. No, I'm gonna. I agree with you. And actually, to tell you the truth, I thought of that when I was doing this slide, and I meant to go back and link the two together, and I might have dropped the ball on that. So I will.
No problem.
Yeah. And here's our great team. We do have a national VP of sales. We are looking to increase our sales team. we're planning to, one of the reasons we're looking for investment is we would like to increase our sales team up to at least 5 people in Q1 and add 5 people each month, ending the year at 15 quality sales individuals to get out there and cover us nationally,
Now,
not just in California,
you're,
but nationwide.
you're showing positions that people have held in the past. Investors are probably more interested in, well, what have they accomplished?
Okay.
I mean, the question about your team is not just who are they and what positions have they held. The question is, why are they the right people to build this company? So to the extent that people have successful management experience in the past, you want to surface that. And if they have significant accomplishments, you want to get that up, even if it takes another slide or two.
Okay. Okay. And so ultimately, we are looking for to raise 2 million. We're looking to invest in our operations, again, increasing our sales team and marketing, and some investment in our product in terms of scaling it and adding some features to our capabilities.
And we talked about this, but I think it'd be perfectly okay to say we have also considered the alternative of going to venture capital investors and trying to raise $10 million to scale up even faster. I think it's okay to say that. I mean,
Okay.
you know, maybe there's a venture capitalist in the audience. You just don't know.
Okay, good.
But the fact that you're open to that is important.
Yeah, we're right now looking for 2 million, but we also have 10 million on our landscape for the coming year. We are looking to invest heavily in the product as well as our sales team.
Yep.
Scaling, I should say. And that's it. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate the time today. And please feel free to reach out to me with any questions or hopefully learning more.
Okay, good job, Varna. Why don't you take off the screen share? So some thoughts there that hopefully help a little bit. I think you've got a good story. I mean, you're the traction in the marketplace is what sort of substantiates that. I mean, that so I think it's real important to get that
I like that
up front. Are there any particular strategic issues that you'd like to bring up for a minute? Decisions you're having to make? We talked a little about venture capital versus angel investors. Are there any other issues at that level that you'd like to discuss for a second?
Gosh, I guess right now, like I said, our primary focus, we have about 3 POs that are, one is final and 2 others that are coming very soon. I am looking for investment so that we can build the team to provide excellent support to these customers that are signing on with us. So that is my most imminent focus for raising capital. I'm looking to build my team, deliver on these POs, as well as invest in my sales team. So angel money, investment money will be focused on building our reputation, delivering excellent service to our customers and product, as well as innovation so that we can go out and gain our market share.
So obviously, one focal point of any investor's due diligence work here will be your background and your skills as a CEO. So I think you want to be sure that you get maximum advantage out of any previous management experience you've had, this management experience that you've had, and maybe even more importantly, the success you've had in bringing the company to where it is now. That's really important.
Okay.
I mean, that can be a substitute for not having been the CEO of another corporation in the past or something like
Okay.
that. A lot of investors want to know that they're investing in CEOs. Well, if you don't have a big long CEO track record, you can always say, well, look, I've done this. You know, I set out 5 years ago and I've done what I said I was going to do, and we're moving things along. It's also important, as we said, to highlight the management experience and accomplishments of your team. So I think you've got a good story to tell there. It's a good space. It's important. It's certainly topical. And I know you've done a lot of work on the presentation, and it seems like it's coming together. And I hope your Monday Club presentation tomorrow is a great success. I'm sure it will be.
I appreciate that, Fred, and I'm looking forward to the feedback. Every conversation brings us one step closer. So thank you for your time and your interest.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a good attitude. And listeners, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. Be sure and keep an eye out for the next issue of the Pitch Tips Zoomcast. And thank you very much for joining us. Have a good week.
Thank you.